Is the new Fujifilm 50mm f1.0 really worth the extra $650? What's up everyone, Reggie B Photo here and welcome back to the channel. So for those of you who are new, my name is Reggie Ballesteros and I'm a wedding photographer based in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I was lucky enough to get a review copy of the new Fujifilm 50mm f1.0 and test drive it for 2 weeks, and instead of giving you a scientific review that compares the 56mm 1.2 over with the 50mm f1.0, I'm just going to give you my general feedback and observations about the lens and kind of my recommendations on what you should do if you're kind of deciding between the two. So in summary, first I want to talk about the positives of the 50mm f1.0. The first is the wide open sharpness and that oh so sweet micro contrast of this new lens. It's really sharp at f1.0 wide open, and there's really no argument that it's sharper than the 56mm 1.2. By a lot, I'm not really sure, but it is sharper. And as far as the autofocus reliability and speed goes, there is a significant upgrade across the board with that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later in the video. But for now, I just want to let you know that it is improved. As far as the extra low light gathering, it's not significant, but it is more than the 1.2. So you have to take that into account. You can't just ignore that. And kind of the last thing about the 50mm 1.0 is its character. It has this interesting out of focus kind of behavior, and the background rendering is just kind of has this like 3D look to it, and overall the background rendering is just smoother and the bokeh fall off is smoother, and it does have a little bit more kind of like warmer color tone that I've noticed, especially with skin tones. And as far as the negatives go, the first two are pretty obvious. One, the lens is a lot larger than the 56mm 1.2 and especially the 50mm f2, and it's also a lot heavier than the 56 1.2 and the 50 f2. And the last negative that I want to note that's pretty obvious is it's a significant financial investment and price jump from the other two lenses. So that is going to be a big downer for a lot of people. So now on to the real question, is it worth it? My short answer is if you have to ask the question, then I'll be honest, it's probably not worth it. If you're going to lose sleep over this investment, then I would suggest you just save yourself the trouble. I personally, Reggie, cannot determine if this lens will be worth the upgrade in autofocus or worth the upgrade in sharpness or worth the upgrade in image quality and character for you personally, because that is a financial decision and that's not something that I can really determine for you. The only thing I can present to you is my honest observations and experience with the lens. I know you guys are going to say, but Reggie, you need to provide us some type of guidance or a recommendation. Okay, I cannot decide for you, but if you want to hear my suggestion, this is going to be it. If you don't own either of the lenses and you're budget conscious, I'd recommend just getting the 56mm 1.2, considering that it's currently on sale right now brand new for $849, and there's actually going to be a lot of used ones popping up on the market, including my personal copy of the lens. If you don't own either one and you're a professional or an enthusiast and you just have the extra cash and you're looking for that top tier 50mm ish lens that Fujifilm has to offer, then the 50mm f1.0 is hands down the latest, it's the greatest, it's the best thing that they got right now in that focal range. So now it comes down to the million-dollar question. If I own the 56mm f1.2, is it worth the upgrade to the 50mm f1.0? Again, I don't know if it's worth it financially, but what are the reasons why you should upgrade? So first and foremost, and I think most importantly for me, and the reason why I'm switching over it, is the autofocus. While I can't necessarily say the autofocus speed is blazing fast and a lot more improved, what I can observe is that the time to acquire the focus is significantly faster. So let me explain. The 56mm f1.2 actually has decent autofocus speed. If you actually look at it, it pushes the glass very fast and it's going to move very fast. But the amount of time to acquire the actual focus, because it hunts so much and it sometimes overshoots and doesn't get there, even sometimes it's not even accurate at all, and then you have to reacquire focus. Yes, the overall time to acquire focus is too slow. So the 50mm f1.0 on the other hand is intentional and it's confident and it doesn't overshoot. Sometimes it's a little slower, but it's going to get there and it's going to stop and it's going to be super accurate. And it's one of those things that you really have to try for yourself and compare between the two to understand. But just take my word for it that the autofocus is improved, and it's improved on a lens that has a larger aperture and shallower depth of field. So I think for me and what I'm doing, that is in itself worth it overall. If you've been wanting shallower depth of field, it's not going to be significantly shallower, but the rendering will be smoother and the out of focus rendering has this nice kind of 3D effect. If you can see it and you notice it and you like it and you think it's worth it, then I say go for it. But if you cannot notice it, I would say just stick with the 56mm f1.2 and you're probably going to be happy. It should go without saying that if size and weight is a concern for you with your lenses, just go out and get yourself the 50mm f2. For me personally, I don't mind the size and the weight of this lens, and it's not something that actually seemed like a bother. Typically when I shoot with larger lenses, I hold the camera system by the lens barrel. It didn't seem that heavy to me, but to other people, they're noticing it. If weight is a big concern, just avoid it altogether. But if it's not something that really bothers you as far as weight goes, then definitely take a look at it. Okay, so the last point I want to make is something that's purely opinion. It's not any type of factual thing, but this lens for me is just a joy to use. I am confident to say that it is on the running to be one of my favorite Fujifilm lenses, and it could tie itself with the 16mm 1.4, and you guys all know how much I love that lens. I consider a lens to be my favorite when I make a point to use it for both my professional work as well as my personal work at home, despite kind of the size of the lens or the inconvenience of the lens. I have a lot of small compact lenses, so those are shoo-ins for using for my personal work, but the 16mm 1.4 is larger and I love using it all the time, and I could see myself using the 50mm f1.0 for my personal work as well, despite how large it is. My lenses that I define as my personal favorites should not cause any type of frustration. The 56mm 1.2, while it worked 85% of the time, 15% of the time it was super frustrating and it drove me crazy, and it was enough for me to write off as I'm not going to use this for any of my personal work. But the 50mm 1.0, I do not have to worry about it. I don't mind using it, and again, the images that it puts out, I'm just reaching out for it and looking for reasons to use it all the time, even at home. Okay, so I know this review was a little disorganized, but I did want to just put something out for you all right before the lens is going to release, just so you can use it to kind of help you make decisions about what you're going to do. If you're going to pull the trigger on the new 50mm f1.0 or take advantage of this new deal for the 56mm 1.2 at $849, I've got affiliate links in the description down below if you want to support the channel at no additional cost to you. If this video helped you out, please give it a like, and if you have any questions about either lenses, I'll do my best to answer them down in the comments. As always, please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as I try to post a new Fujifilm photography video every week, but currently I've been working on my new photography course, which is going to be the Fujifilm Photography Bootcamp, link down below. So if you want to sign up, it's going to be coming out in November, and you guys will not regret signing up. So check that out. But if that's too long for you to wait for another video or for the course, be sure to follow me on Instagram at @ReggieBPhoto for a new daily post or behind the scenes or tutorial every single day. Alright, that's it for me. Remember to get out, go shoot, and I'll catch you all in the next one.